Hello there. So here's another excerpt from episode 29 of the show that I released a few days ago. And these are the next 5 reasons why I think the events of September 11th, 2001 are inconsistent with the official narrative. So give it a watch and see what you think. Thanks and be well. I'll see you next time. So here it is, that single question I'm interested in. Is what you will see and hear in this discussion compelling enough to conclude that the events of September 11th, 2001 are inconsistent with the official narrative? 6. Anyone question that whole BBC Building 7, what should we call it, a snafu?
Now, more on the latest building collapse in New York. You might have heard a few moments ago I was talking about the Salomon Brothers building collapsing. And indeed it has. Apparently that's only a few hundred yards away from where the World Trade Center towers were. Jane, what more can you tell us about the Salomon Brothers building and its collapse?
Well, only really what you already know. Details are very, very sketchy, but New York very much a city still in chaos. The phones are not working properly, the subway lines are not working properly, and we know that down there near the World Trade Center there are 3 schools that are being turned into triage centers.
7. There can be little argument that 9/11 was the worst crime perpetrated on U.S. soil. Yet the most essential element was missing from the investigation: preserving the physical crime scene. I thought that was normally tampering with evidence, but I guess not. 8. What you're seeing right here. This may be fairly described with certain words, but collapse is not one of them. I think pulverization is the best one. And how do you have any semblance of an intelligent conversation about something when one of the parties can't be truthful? I've said before that the simplest definition of truth is that which has happened and is happening. That happened, and it wasn't a collapse. 9. That the 9/11 Commission report doesn't even mention Building 7 draws significant scrutiny. Only 2 times in history prior to the collapse of World Trade Center Building 7 have steel-framed buildings been brought down due to fire, and those prior 2 examples were the Twin Towers earlier that same day. But then we have the National Institute of Standards and Technology, or NIST's, 2008 final report on the collapse of the World Trade Center Building 7, and, of course, we're told that it failed due to a moderate fire, and get this, because it was the first time ever, that such an event occurred, the report suggested it be a consideration going forward. Please. 10. A study titled A Structural Reevaluation of the Collapse of World Trade Center 7 and led by a structural engineering professor emeritus at the University of Alaska includes this, quote, "The principal conclusion of our study is that fire did not cause the collapse of World Trade Center 7 on 9/11, contrary to the conclusions of NIST and private engineering firms that studied the collapse. The secondary conclusion of our study is that the collapse of World Trade Center 7 was a global failure involving the near simultaneous failure of every column in the building."